Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Magic Mouse 2 and see how the specific watch holds up in 2023. Now personally for me, I am a big fan of the Magic Mouse 2. I think this type of mouse was very solid, and I think Apple did a really good job at producing this watch when they did, because this watch has been out for many years. It didn't just come out today. So when a watch like this ends up being released, one thing that I always kind of think about is that what is the successor of this, mouse going to look like? And personally for me, I don't really have the answer for that. But with this mouse, I think it's still worth it. I think it's still worth buying. And if you want to pick it up, links will be down in the description. You can get it from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the outside of this mouse, the first thing you have to keep in mind is that this specific mouse came off the heels of the Magic Mouse 1. Now, the Magic Mouse 1 was a very good mouse that Apple made as well, personally, that I, kind of think about. But the thing with the Magic Mouse 1 was that it did have interchangeable AA batteries or AAA batteries. Whenever you had to, kind of use this thing, you had to put batteries inside. Now, I like a rechargeable battery more than those, batteries you have to change all the time. Some people actually think that that is not that good of a change because with the Magic Mouse 2, the charging port is at the bottom. But personally for me, I never really found it to be that big of an issue, to be honest, but it is kind of a weird design flaw. Now, the design is pretty much the same thing as the Magic Mouse 1, but that's not a bad thing. Even many years after the release of the Magic Mouse 1, the Magic Mouse 2, so many years after its release here now too, still looks very good, still feels very premium, and compared to a lot of other, mouses I've owned, this thing is still holding up very well, and it's still supported on all the macOS versions and every single Mac that I've ever bought, even the M2 Pro MacBook Pros, they're still supported on all of them, which is great. They're Bluetooth mouses, they're going to be supported. So that glass on the top was really nice, because it's, a glass slab that kind of curves, and it gives you a really nice pad where you not only can you go ahead and, click on the buttons and, do all that stuff, but it's also a tiny bit of a gesture, kind of thing you can do on top. You can slide up and down, kind of like a scroll wheel kind of thing on the Magic Mouse, and it's still a really nice, mouse. Now, I wouldn't consider this like a gaming mouse by any means, but it's still super nice that you have somewhat of like a professional workflow type of mouse, and I think a lot of people like that about this specific, mouse. Now, the sides of it kind of curve in, so it gives you a nice place to kind of put your fingers in if you're not really if you're just kind of idling around. And on the bottom of the Magic Mouse, you do have that charging port. Now, this is probably the most annoying thing that a lot of people complain about. And personally for me, I would probably complain about it a lot if I didn't use a Magic Trackpad. So the trackpad is the thing I use every day. It is my most used thing I use on my desk is my Magic Trackpad, probably even more than my keyboard. So with the Magic Mouse, if I was using it every day, which I do use it sometimes with my, iMac, I have to charge it. It is kind of annoying sometimes, but if you just kind of get in the habit that, if you step away for a couple minutes or even like an hour to do something, you plug it in and you kind of move on with your life, it's actually not that bad of an experience. But if I was using this every day, I would find that very annoying. Especially if I didn't have a MacBook Pro docked to my specific Mac. If I instead had like an iMac and I didn't have another MacBook, I would just have to sit there and wait or go on my phone. They should have just put the charging port on the front of the Magic Mouse. That way you can still use it, just like how they did it on the Magic Trackpad. It's a very weird design change. It's crazy that they still haven't changed it so many years later. But I guess we're going to get the Magic Mouse 3 at some point, and hopefully they end up fixing it there. But personally for me, I think this is okay for the most part. I would rather have this type of, mouse than possibly something like, the batteries changing inside of it that I have to deal with. But this is still super nice, and, I'm still a fan of it. So in terms of the outside, that kind of covers it up there. Now the features of this Magic Mouse, work exactly the same way as any other Magic Mouse or any mouse you're going to use. You can go through, you can interact with the screen, you can interact with all that other stuff. You can click on it, you can, set up different gestures, which is the big thing going on for these Magic Mouses. You can go ahead and set up different gestures, and I think that is probably one of the bigger selling points, especially if you're on macOS. Most of the time, if you're using something like the Magic Mouse, you are getting that type of capability where you can go ahead and kind of set a few custom things here and there. And I think that's always been something cool going on with this Magic Mouse as well. Another thing to keep in mind is that the battery life has also been pretty decent. I've had pretty good battery life for my Magic Mouse, and I have 3 different ones, and to be honest, I don't, use 3 different ones at the same time, but it's always nice because even my oldest one still works perfectly fine. And Apple does give you some Magic Mouse and I think a keyboard as well if you buy an iMac. So you just end up having a lot of these around if you're always upgrading your machines. And the thing with the Magic Mouse 2 is that it is still, in terms of the battery life and battery health, it is still lasting a very long amount of time. Batteries degrade over time, but this thing has still been very solid for me the last, several, years. So what I will definitely tell you is, in my opinion, the Magic Mouse 2, although it's not probably the first thing I would recommend people to buy, like I would way more likely recommend something like a, Magic Trackpad, I still think a Magic Mouse 2 is worth it. I think it's still completely worth buying, but as I mentioned, you are much better off buying something possibly like a, Magic Trackpad 2 if you have the ability of doing so. Those types of accessories work out so much better for, I think, the average person. They're a little bit more expensive, but they are just so much better than getting something like the Magic Mouse 2. I think the Mouse 2 was good when it first came out. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.